Hey everyone, and welcome to episode 7 of GG3 Volume slash Trades Edition. So, for this episode, what I decided to do, or for this month, past month, instead of reading just single issues, I decided to read a bunch of trades or volumes, whatever you want to call it, and then I would rank them by my top 3, grand 3. So now I'll list my comics, and now I don't have to split them up by publisher. So I'm just gonna list everything I read. So for the past month, I've read Black Panther and the Crew, Blackbird, Collapser, Crowded, Far Sector. Far Sector is a little bit of a cheat because it's not technically done, but it has enough to be, I guess, comparable to other volumes, so I included it. Firepower Prelude, God Country, Invisible Kingdom, Outcast, Silver Surfer Black, Storm, and We Are Robin. Now, instead of me, again, just listing my grand 3, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna read a summary of each comic, and then I'll talk about pros and cons to each, and then I'll reveal my grand 3 at the very end. So, first up, I'll be talking about Black Panther and the Crew. Black Panther, Storm, Luke Cage, Misty Knight, and Manifold band together to take on a dangerous wave of street-level threats. The death of a Harlem activist kicks off a mystery that will reveal surprising new secrets about the Marvel Universe's past, and set the stage for a huge story in the near future. Misty and Storm discover that the neighborhood is under siege from something worse than they'd imagined. When the Panther gets involved, it becomes clear that what is happening in Harlem is not new. It stretches back decades. Luke Cage takes action his way, and the teleporting Avenger known as Manifold joins the fold as the group searches for answers. Fear, hate, and violence loom. But don't worry, the Crew's got this. They are the streets. So yeah, I like how they talked about each character for each chapter, and it kind of went into a bit of the past also, and how that past ties them to the current situation, and how they have ties to Harlem. So yeah, those were the points I found pros for this. My cons for it was, this is me personally, and I could be wrong, I feel like every time there's a story taking place in Harlem, it usually has to deal with corrupt cops, I guess the streets, which I guess I said I don't know if this is probably big subjects in Harlem, but, and maybe I'm only basing this off of the comic and the Marvel Luke Cage Netflix show, so they felt very similar. But yeah, I don't know, I guess I get kind of not tired, but it seems like that's always the story I've seen involved when its setting is in Harlem. So it would have been, I guess, nice to see something different. Another con I guess I had was how I said each character kind of focused on one of the 4 characters that obviously they had their chapter later in the comic or trade. They they had less page time. I don't know what you want to call it. Like this isn't a spoiler. The last one they introduced, I guess, was Manifold, which is probably the one I know the least about, so I would have liked to know more about him. But since he was revealed, if not the last chapter, the second last, he didn't really get much time, I guess, no, with the group and even maybe doing his own thing. So those are the cons I had for it. The next comic I'm going to talk about is Blackbird. So a summary of Blackbird is Nina Rodriguez. Sorry, flash there. Nina Rodriguez knows there's a hidden magical world run by ruthless cabals hiding in Los Angeles. And when a giant magic beast kidnaps her sister, Nina must confront her past and her demons to get her sister back and reclaim her life. Pros that I found with this comic was the art looked good. And this is, well, it'll make more sense why I said it like that later. But I like the style of like a lot of the characters, like it's like what they wore. Another pro that I found was it wasn't predictable. The cons now for Blackbird, and I know this is gonna already sound contradictory to what I said first, was maybe this is also because I know Anika loves Jen Bartel, and I've seen the covers that she buys, what Jen Bartel does. It looks really good. So when she told me Jen Bartel did the art for the comic, I was kind of expecting that level, I guess. But at the same time, I shouldn't have, because honestly, doing cover art is completely different than doing art for a whole comic. You can't spend so much time on each page, or else it will take forever to finish. So I guess just knowing what her capabilities are for cover art and seeing the art in the actual comic, I don't know, unfortunate for me, I guess. Again, personally for me, without trying to spoil the story, I guess how Nina it said, yeah, how she knows there's a hidden world, but this isn't a spoiler, I guess. She said she reads about it on forums, and I don't know, that usually when I think of like people reading stuff on like forums or like stuff from the internet, it's like completely wrong, but it seemed like a lot of the stuff that she was reading was actually correct. So, and she was like able to do things that, I don't know, just like, oh, I read this on a forum, I can do this, and it worked. But there could be other reasons as to why that worked in the story. But I don't know, to me, it seemed kind of, not rushed, but it kind of also would speed up the story, so a slight con for me, I guess. Now, here's a summary for Collapser. There's a voice in the head of Liam James questioning everything he does, from his job at a nursing home to keeping his relationship with his girlfriend afloat. Liam suffers from anxiety, and the only thing that quiets it is music, which makes a weekly DJ gig his one saving grace. But Liam's life changes forever when he receives a black hole in the mail. Yes, you read that right, or heard me. One that takes up residence in his chest, grants him insane superpowers, turns him into a celebrity, and draws him into a cosmic conflict beyond his wildest imagination. Pros that I have for this book are the powers are interesting. How the black hole is actually part of him, not like he summons a black hole. He reminds me of, I think it's Oroku from Inuyasha, who has, well, they call it a wind tunnel in his palm of his hand, but it's pretty much a black hole. So yeah, it was very much like that. I also like the humor. The humor was good in this book. My favorite character wasn't necessarily the main character, but well, I guess it kind of was in that sense. But it was the old man. I can't remember his name, but if you read it, you'll know which old man I'm talking about. Cons that I had for this was how it said in the summary he gets fame, not necessarily fortune, famous. It's the typical thing. It's like a loser or nobody gets these powers, then he becomes famous, and then he neglects his old friends and relationships, forms a new relationship with this new hot thing. So it's it's not super innovative. Oh, I don't know if I said this. He was he had like hallucinations, and it's almost like he was phasing between worlds, but I didn't really understand why this was happening. If they explained it in the story, I do not remember. Or I don't know, maybe the explanation it wasn't enough for me. So a summary for Crowded is 10 minutes in the future, the world runs on an economy of job shares and apps like Reaper, a platform for legal assassination. When the apparently average Charlie Elson wakes up one day to find out she's the target of $1 million Reaper campaign. She hires Vita, the lowest rated bodyguard on Defend app. Now with all in Los Angeles hunting Charlie, she and Vita will have to figure out who wants her dead and why before the campaign's 30 days or their lives are over. Pros that I had found with Crowded was that the idea of in the future that there would be an app where you can post, I guess, assassination jobs. Like, I want this person dead. And then there's people who can take up the job and obviously do it. Is definitely cool. Well, not cool, but seems like it could be possible. And then, I guess in that same sense, there will be another app to have you bodyguards essentially defend, which is what they said, to protect you. Funny thing also, this is not really a pro or con. When I first saw the bodyguard Vita, I thought Vita was a man. And then after a while I'm like, wait a minute. Vita's a girl or a woman. And I was like, okay. Cons that I had with this was there was one character in the story. I guess he was kind of like the main end person for this volume. There's a lot of his parts. His parts in the story I did not enjoy. So, and there was quite a bit of it. I was like, come on, let me hurry up and finish reading his part. Cause Vita and what was her name? Charlie. Vita and Charlie, their story was more interesting, and the humor was good. The summary for Far Sector is: for the past 6 months, newly chosen Green Lantern Sojourner Joe Mullen, sorry saying it wrong, has been protecting the city enduring, a massive metropolis of 20 billion people. The city has maintained peace for over 500 years by stripping its citizens of their ability to feel. As a result, violent crimes is virtually unheard of and murder is non-existent. Pros for Far Sector, which is kind of a cheat in this case, but the art is beautiful. The story is very good. It touches on a lot of different subjects relevant to today. As I said, the art is very nice. I really like all of the character designs. I can't think of a character that I saw and I was like, that's weird, even though those are all aliens. So yeah, let's see, good art, good story. Main character, really like Joe. Cons for it? I'm gonna try and really think. Cons. It's short. A summary for Firepower Prelude is: Owen Johnson's journey to China to learn about his birth parents eventually leads him to a mysterious Shaolin temple. The students there study to rediscover the firepower, the art of throwing fireballs, a power they claim will be needed to soon save the world. Will Owen Johnson be the first person in 1,000 years to wield the firepower? Pros that I had for this comic was honestly, even based on the summary of it, it feels very Avatar, like Avatar Last Airbender, not the other one with the blue people. I really enjoy, I guess, manipulation of elements. Well, they only do fire. I don't know if they're gonna do other ones later. Flash, open my door. Yeah, I don't know if they're gonna do other ones later, but I do enjoy them training at the Shaolin Temple. It shows, like, obviously his progression, his relationship with the other monks. Would they be monks or just Shaolin warriors? Fire power people? Whatever they call themselves, warriors? Fire warriors? Fire monks? Fire Shaolins? Okay, I'm gonna stop. I really like the art. Art seems to always come up for pros. Yeah, I felt like it was a very good prelude. Cons for firepower. I guess it's kind of predictable in the end, but even though it was like it was gonna be kind of predictable, like what was gonna ultimately happen with Will regarding his training. I still enjoyed his journey and his relationship with all the other people. Here's a summary for God Country. In God Country, readers meet Emmett Quinlan, an old widower riddled by dementia. Emmett isn't just a problem for his children. His violent outbursts are more than the local cops can handle. When a tornado levels his home, as well as the surrounding West Texas town, a restored Quinlan rises from the wreckage. An enchanted sword at the eye of the storm gives him more than a sound mind and body, however. He's now the only man who can face these otherworldly creatures. The sword is drawn down to the Lone Star State. In God Country, salvation is a double-edged sword. Pros for God Country are, for the brief moments when you see Emmett dealing with his dementia and with his son and his family, it's very accurate. It's a very accurate representation of what can possibly happen with people or your loved ones who suffer from dementia. They may have outbursts. They may say, get the F out of here. But it's hard. It is hard. You don't want to abandon your father because he's saying these things because of dementia. Because he wouldn't really say this before. So it's not truly them. It's an alternate version of them. So you don't want to just give up. I did like his let's see. The sword I didn't, because the sword could talk. Valifax? I think that's his name? Valifax? I would say those were the main pros. Cons I had for this story, I wish there was more villains, because as I said, there was I would say 2.5. Something happened at the end, and then, I can't. Something happened. They go back, or I'm trying to say this without spoiling it. I guess when the conflict's over, and something regarding the sword, Valifax, happens, I didn't like it. As the recording goes, the light leaves. Soon I'm probably have to turn on my room light. Anyways, here is a summary for Invisible Kingdom. In a far-flung galaxy's small solar system, 2 women, one a young religious acolyte, and the other a hard-bitten freighter pilot, uncover a conspiracy between the leaders of the most dominant religion and all-consuming megacorporation. On the run from reprisal? I am bad. On both sides, this unlikely pair must decide where their loyalties lie and risk plunging the world into anarchy if they reveal the truth. a pro for this, now that I read this summary, and I didn't read the summary before I read the comic, so if I say this, it's not even a spoiler because it's in the summary. I was surprised how the religion or the religious group was kind of entangled in a conspiracy too with the mega corporation. I don't remember what it was called. Does it say? No, I can't remember. But yes, they were kind of like in cahoots. There was like some money trail that one of the acolyte they were talking about kind of noticed. So yeah, saying that's not a spoiler because in some ways I said but that was a pro for me because I didn't read the summary, so I didn't see it coming. What else? I enjoyed the aliens. Yeah, because they're all aliens. They were funny. Yeah. Let's see. Cons. Again, this is I read this a while ago, so I'm trying to dig deep in my mind to remember the story and how it went. I had to turn on my light. But to be honest, I can't really think of any cons for it. Now here's a summary for Silver Surfer Black. A life-altering saga for the Silver Surfer, represented in full splendor, befitting the Sentinel of Spaceways, spinning out of events in Guardians of the Galaxy. Many of the universe's greatest defenders have been blown through a black hole, including the Silver Surfer. But Norrin Rad's story doesn't end there. Lost in space and time, he faces a battle unlike any he has known before. A fight to save his own soul. Pros I had with this comic were there was at least a page. I don't remember exactly what it said, but it had had a message in it, which could be applied to, I guess, real life, not just applied to everyone's life, not just Silver Surfer's little adventure he was on. Cons I had about this comic: the art was interesting, to say the least. I swear it felt like the artist might have been like on either some acid or I don't know, high when they were drawing this, or this could just be their style. And even a lot of the story, I feel like it went over my head. But I don't know if this is because this is really my first exposure to Silver Surfer, because I didn't even see the Fantastic Four movie when Silver Surfer was in it. I don't know how much they go into depth about him, but yeah, I didn't see that. Don't really recall him being in any cartoons really as a kid. So yeah, this was really my first exposure to him. So I don't know much about him, and this probably wasn't the best intro to Silver Surfer for me or for anyone maybe. Now here's a summary for Storm. An orphan street urchin living by her wits on the unforgiving plains of Africa struggles to harness her slowly developing mutant powers. A warrior prince embarking on his rite of passage as he ponders the great responsibility in his future. And a crew of ruthless mercenaries will stop at nothing to capture an elusive creature of legend, the fabled Wind Rider. What sparks occur when their paths intersect? Don't miss out on this prelude to the wedding of Storm and Black Panther. Some pros about this book are obviously seeing the story about Storm and T'Challa Storm and Black Panther, or it would be Aurora and T'Challa. But yes, seeing their story before they're together or even married. So this is their first meeting. I didn't know much about Storm's past, like even Storm's past before X-Men. So you see her with her mom and dad, and then you see how I believe it was a plane crash. You know what? No, sorry. You know, I already have said it. How a plane crashed and killed both her parents. Sorry, that's probably gonna try to make that the only spoiler I say. But yes, you see how, besides their death, you see how their life was, and yeah, it was very nice. I would say another pro is her yeah, I guess their enemies, her enemies, are not only the mercenaries. Now, some cons about this book. I ain't got none. And now, finally, a summary for We Are Robin. The teenagers of Gotham City have adopted the art and made it their own. A new Robin? No, hundreds of Robins. The Boy Wonder has inspired a movement in Gotham, where different people of all creeds, colors, genders, and religions have donned the R insignia to combat crime. But will this clean up the city or make more trouble for everyone? Some pros about We Are Robin are, I really like the idea that they took Robin, and obviously it's just a bunch of people adopt the R insignia. I'm just, like, regurgitating the summary. But yeah, I really like the concept of this story. I like the characters, the different people who are Robin. Some cons I had with this story would be, I guess, the main character who you're following at first. He is searching for, I think, both his parents, if not both his parents, his mother. And then I think they said he's kind of like an adrenaline junkie somewhat. So I just don't like how like, he was in a situation, then some mysterious person came and talked to him. He left, and then the guy stepped out, and then there was like a motorcycle with, I think there might have been a Robin coat, I can't remember if not, but there was a motorcycle and a walkie-talkie, and the guy just took it, and after that he was part of the Robin crew. I didn't like how, I don't know, he was, I guess, so accepting of it. Like, there was no like questions about it. It was just, oh, walkie-talkie is, he rides and he meets the other ones, and then he's just part of them. Okay, now after going through all of the comic summaries, all the pros and cons, it's time now to pick my Grand 3. So, my Grand 3 include Far Sector, Firepower Prelude, and Storm. Yep, so those are my Grand 3. It's always hard to pick the last one. Far Sector and Firepower were, like, I had to put those in. I really enjoyed them. It was really close between Storm, God Country, and Outcast. But I guess you can see based off my pros and cons, and I guess just obviously the level of how I enjoyed each of them, Storm ultimately rose to the top. So you guys let me know if you read a couple of these or any of these, and which one was your favorite, or which ones even you just enjoyed if you only read one of them. But yes, for next month, I am going to be doing Web Toons. If you guys have any suggestions for any Web Toons I should read, you can send me a message to my Instagram. And what was I gonna say? Oh, how it's gonna work? Because if you read Web Toons already, you kind of know some of the chapters aren't really long. So I'm thinking maybe from each webtoon I would read maybe 10 to 12 chapters, and then I'd rank pick my grand 3 from the first 10 to 12. Yeah, format will be similar to this video because Webtoons also just one publisher. So I'll just read a bunch, pick my grand 3, and then for the following month I'll go back to reading the issues for comics. So if you guys have any suggestions for either Webtoons or comics, send me a message. I will save it, and then whenever it comes, I'll do it. Depending, I don't know. I might do another one of these trade volume editions of GG3. We'll see. I definitely did a lot better than I thought. So I don't know if I personally have a lot of trades left. Excuse me. That I haven't read, but I know I can get some from Anita. And I even use an app called Hoopla where I can just browse their library and borrow random ones. And I also go on the internet. Go on the internet too, yeah, and just find them on there. So let me know if all of you guys and gals enjoyed this different this version of GG3. Do I have anything else to say? I don't think so. Yeah. So yeah. Thanks for watching, and I will see you later.